Last Wednesday at 12:18 a.m., you stared at your phone after sending one honest sentence about what you needed, watched his profile stay active, saw no reply come back, and felt that old familiar drop in your chest like your body already knew the answer before your mind could bear it. And there is a specific reason he pulled away that has nothing to do with your beauty and everything to do with a psychological pattern we're going to walk through tonight. Because the first brutal sign he does not want a relationship with you is not distance by itself. It is confusion that never quite clears. She kept telling herself he was cautious, thoughtful, wounded, the kind of man who moved slowly because he felt deeply. He called late, stayed longer than he planned, remembered small details, touched her like she mattered, and then disappeared the moment the air changed from chemistry to clarity. Every time she asked where this was going, he gave her language that sounded warm and meant nothing. Let's not ruin this. Why put pressure on it? Can we just enjoy what we have? So she stayed inside that fog because fog can feel softer than rejection. But Esther Perel has a phrase for this kind of bond: stable ambiguity, a connection kept deliberately unclear so one person can enjoy intimacy without accepting the responsibility of naming it. Tonight, do one hard and healing thing. Stop asking vague questions like, where is this going? And ask one clean question instead. Are you moving toward a relationship with me? Or are you not? Then stay quiet long enough to hear the answer beneath his wording. Because a man who wants you may be nervous, he may be imperfect, but he does not need endless ambiguity to keep you close. She noticed he always came back the same way, right when she was finally starting to detach. 2 dry days, then a heart on an old photo. 1 canceled plan, then a midnight paragraph about how different she was. A week of cold air, then a sudden hunger for her voice, her body, her comfort, her softness. And each return felt like proof that the bond was real, even though the distance kept getting longer and the sweetness kept getting thinner. That is the second brutal sign. He is not building a relationship, he is regulating access. Dr. Ramani Durvasula and the broader psychology around toxic bonding keep pointing to the same mechanism: intermittent reinforcement. Unpredictable reward that makes a person chase harder because the next small hit of affection might be the one that finally means something. Tonight, do not read his warmth as depth. Read it as data. Open your notes app and write the last 10 contacts in order: who initiated, how long he took, what he wanted, and how you felt after. Because patterns look romantic until you place them side by side. So why do you stay? Usually because the nervous system confuses inconsistency with value. If it is hard to get, it starts to feel important. Stay with me, because the next line is the one that changes how you sleep tonight. Consistency is not boring when you are healthy. It is safe. And if safety feels unfamiliar, that does not make chaos into love. She thought the relationship was still alive because there were no big fights. He never screamed, never officially ended it, never said anything cruel enough to force her out the door. But when she sent a photo from her day, he answered hours later with a joke that missed the feeling. When she reached for him with a small bid for closeness, a story, a question, a look, a quiet that hurt, he moved around it like furniture. He was available for logistics, for sex, for distraction, for the easy parts, but strangely absent in the tiny moments where closeness is actually made. John Gottman's work on trust says it's plainly, trust is built in very small moments, those sliding door moments when one person reaches and the other person turns toward them instead of away. Tonight, track your bids for connection for just 3 days. Every moment you reached for emotional closeness, and whether he turned toward you, turned away, or turned against you. Do not judge it, just count it. Because the third brutal sign he does not want a relationship is this: he likes your presence more than your person. And if this kind of truth is the kind you need when the room gets quiet, keep this space close. Subscribe if you want, or simply come back when you need the language. But here's where most women get this completely wrong. They think a man is serious because he spends time when what matters more is whether he invests attention at the moment connection asks something of him. She finally gathered the courage to say she felt alone even when he was there. She practiced the words in the shower, softened them on the drive, made them smaller at dinner. And when they finally came out, he went cold. Not loud, cold. One-word answers, a flat face. Then no call the next day. Then silence that made her question whether she had asked for too much, said it wrong, ruined the whole thing by having a need at all. That is the fourth brutal sign. He treats your honesty like an inconvenience he has to punish. Research on ostracism and the silent treatment has shown for years that being ignored does not feel minor to the brain. It lands like pain. Gottman's relationship work calls one version of this stonewalling, and his remedy begins with a truth most people miss. The answer to shutdown is not more chasing. It is regulated distance and clear repair. Tonight, send one respectful sentence if you need closure for your own nervous system. I'm available for a direct conversation, not for silence. And after that, stop feeding the shutdown with repeated messages. What if he already knows? Most of the time, he does. He knows silence destabilizes you. He knows you will work harder when he withdraws. He knows your empathy will fill in the blanks and excuse the behavior. And this is the part no one talks about. When a man repeatedly uses distance after honesty, the problem is no longer misunderstanding. It is advantage. She kept thinking that because he told her painful things from his childhood, because he fell asleep with his hand on her waist, because he said he had never felt this safe with anyone, that meant intimacy was growing into commitment. But disclosure is not devotion. Access is not intention. Chemistry is not character. Brene Brown's work keeps returning to one uncomfortable truth. Vulnerability involves uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. And later, she condenses boundaries into a line that cuts straight through fantasy. Clear is kind. Unclear is unkind. Tonight, stop grading him on softness and start grading him on clarity. Can he name what this is, what he wants, what he can offer, and what he will not do? If he can share his wounds with you, but cannot share a clear intention with you, he may want comfort, not a relationship. She learned that too late, that some men will let a woman hold their loneliness, their stress, their ego, their body, even their tears, while still refusing the one thing that would make her feel safe. The fifth brutal sign is not that he is emotionally empty. It is that he is selectively vulnerable in ways that keep him cared for without ever becoming accountable. Can someone care and still not choose you? Yes. And that truth is one of the hardest adult lessons there is. We can be deeply felt and still not be fully chosen. She was the woman who said she was just being patient, but underneath the patience was panic. She checked timestamps, reread tone, rehearsed conversations, tried on personalities that might make him lean in again. She became easier, cooler, lower maintenance, less direct. All because some part of her believed that if she were just a little better calibrated, his uncertainty would settle into love. Attachment theory has language for that state, attachment anxiety, that crawling feeling that if he pulls away, you must chase him or be abandoned. And it also has a name for the behaviors that follow protest behavior, the reaching, over-explaining, hinting, double texting, withdrawing to be noticed, all the moves that try to force closeness from someone who is already stepping back. Tonight, before you touch his thread again, put your phone face down and write these 4 lines by hand. What did he actually do? What story did I build around it? What did my body feel? What would self-respect do next? And here is the sharpest reframe of the night. He did not pull away because you asked for too much. He pulled away because clarity would have made him responsible. Now turn that reframe into behavior while the room is quiet. Send nothing tonight if you are flooded. Wait until tomorrow after 6 p.m. And if you still need to speak, send this exact message. I'm not available for confusion. If you want a real relationship, speak clearly and act consistently. If not, I'm stepping back. Then do not negotiate against your own words. Not for a paragraph. Not for nostalgia. Not for potential. Because the quiet return is not him coming back. It is you coming back to yourself. And when you do, something almost tender begins to happen. The nervous system that used to spike at every breadcrumb starts to settle. The mind stops calling uncertainty passion. The body stops mistaking longing for love. And the loneliness that once made you reach for him starts becoming a doorway back into your own clarity. She thought losing him would break her, but what actually broke was the old belief that being chosen had to be earned by enduring confusion. That belief can end tonight, not because you no longer care, but because you finally care in the right direction, toward the part of you that should never have had to beg for definition, for consistency, for a reply, for peace. If this found you tonight, save it for the night you need it again. And if it stayed with you, there's another one waiting for you about what happens in his mind the moment you stop texting back.